So my friend Kat has pointed out correctly that my It Gets Better video is as devoid of solutions as the other videos I decry over not having any solutions. So let's fix that. Well, I do think it's slightly presumptive of me to try and speak for the gays in the country, given that I'm not, gay. I'll present my 6-point plan for changing the social fabric. Part 1. Don't ask, don't tell. It needs to go. Today. Good news on this front. After the Ninth Circuit judge declared enforcement of Don't Ask, Don't Tell violated service members' First and Fifth Amendment rights, the DoD issued guiding regulations to cease all investigations and outcrossing proceedings under Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Several openly gay service members previously discharged under Don't Ask, Don't Tell also began to re-enlist, with much attendant media coverage. What wasn't covered as broadly really shocked me. President Obama's Justice Department filled an emergency stay on the judge's ruling, which was actually granted. The DoD is now legally free to continue as before until the appeal is heard, which could take several months. Now, there hasn't been any DoD guidance released since then, so the current halt on discharges is still valid, but it means the DoD could change it at any time. It could be argued the administration is doing this so they can control how and when the policy is ended in order to minimize disruption of the forces, but I'm really not buying it. Now, Don't Ask, Don't Tell is important because the typical soldier, sailor, airman, and marine is typically more conservative in social issues than most Americans. However, they are also very teamwork-oriented and results-driven. Now, initially, most members of the armed forces are going to feel resistance to homosexuals serving openly beside them. When they see the positive contributions gay service members make on going on missions with them, coming under fire with them, when they're rescued by them, they tend to lose their preconceived notions about homosexuals. So when mustering out of the service, they take these newfound values back to their hometowns. This exposes the typical Midwestern American insular populace to a more tolerant viewpoint much more effectively than the extreme liberal strongholds like San Francisco and New York. Part 2. Marriage. And this is a tough one. A March UCLA study found that because gay partners, even those marriages recognized by the state, are forced to file federal taxes separately due to the 1996 Federal Defense of Marriage Act, they normally have a tax difference about $815 more than opposite gender couples of the same income. Other taxes like estate tax or health insurance adds to this burden. Overall, these differences make up about 0.05% of the US budget, or $1.25 billion. This number is not insignificant, and I think is the leading reason why marriage reform isn't progressing more rapidly. The only real answer is to challenge the entire premise of allowing joint filings or the Defense of Marriage Act. Either marriage is a totally religious ceremony, and the separation of church and state says the government shouldn't be subsidizing, or is a totally civil ceremony, therefore the religious backgrounds of the Defense of Marriage Act should be nullified. Part 3. Exposure. I think there should be more gay and lesbian characters on TV, but not in the Will and Grace sense, who are only characters because they are gay. They should be real complex characters that contribute to the storyline in an integral way. They just also happen to be gay. The show doesn't have to focus on it or really make it that big of a deal. I have to give props to the creators of Stargate Universe for creating a realistic, believable, and non-intrusive relationship for Ming-Na's character. Part 4. Now this may sound counterintuitive, but get rid of the clubs like the Gay and Lesbian Straight Alliance in middle school and high school. The idea behind toleration and acceptance isn't to have a special club where people stand out. It's to integrate within society so you can join clubs like student council or whatever without being stigmatized or ostracized. And while I can understand having these clubs allow people to come together, share stories, and provide support, it also provides a more visible target to the less tolerant. In addition, the largest base of supporters, moderate heterosexuals like myself, are normally too stigmatized to be associated with these clubs. If they instead joined other clubs and made friends with the moderates there, it would further help to build their support outside of these clubs. Part 5. Clamp down on extremism in all its forms. Fundamentalists don't have a corner on this market. Follow Aristotle's golden mean. And Part 6. If it all gets to be too much, know that there are people and resources out there that can help.